BMW is a car brand known for its powerful performance, luxury design, and cutting-edge technology. But what most people don't know is that it all started with selling aircraft engines. Today, the company is worth well over $51 billion. But at one point, things were so bad that it was ready to sell itself to Mercedes-Benz. However, this is not just a story of business success. During World War II, the company took a darker turn when BMW got involved in military projects for the Nazi regime, including using forced labor and other dark actions. To understand all of this, we need to go back in time to where it all began. The story of BMW starts with Karl Rapp, who was born on September 24, 1882 in Germany. From a young age, Karl was fascinated by machines and the idea of how things worked, and this curiosity pushed him to become an engineer. Fast forward to 1911, he got his first job at Daimler Motoren Gesellschaft. This was the same company which later became Mercedes-Benz. He worked there as a technical designer and his company focused on making car engines. It was a great opportunity for someone to start, but Karl was not satisfied with the work, so he decided to leave, hoping to find another job where he could truly learn something new and enjoy what he was doing. However, he soon got another job at Flugwerk Deutschland as an engineer and manager, as this company was making aircraft engines. Under Karl's leadership, the company produced several biplanes, which had 2 wings, as well as monoplanes, which had just 1 wing. Also, he designed many aircraft engines, but none of them were so successful, and this led to the company in serious financial trouble. By 1913, the company's shareholder decided to shut it down. Karl believed that he had gained enough experience in designing aircraft engines, but in reality, he hadn't. He decided to take a risk and start his own company. As a result, the same year 1913, he started Rapp Motorenwerke with a capital of 200,000 Reichsmarks. Karl's company's main goal was to build and sell engines, especially internal combustion engines for cars and aircraft. Unfortunately, the next year in 1914, World War I began and Karl started designing only aircraft engines in the hope that the German military would buy from him and his company would grow even more. But luck didn't favor him. Karl's aircraft engine again failed because of technical flaws. The company faced issues with engine reliability and quality, which hurt its reputation. While on the other side, Karl's biggest competitor, Gustav Otto's company, also made small aircraft and his business was doing good. The only problem was Gustav company had limited funds to survive. Meanwhile, the demand for aircraft engines was growing because the German military wanted more for World War I. The German government sent Franz Josef Popp to help Karl since he had more experience. Popp noticed that Karl's company had a lot of potential, but it needed some changes. Plus, he had strong connections with the military, which helped him bring in more resources and skilled workers. Unfortunately, Popp had another plan in his mind. He was looking to take over Karl's company. In 1916, Popp saw an opportunity to save the struggling Rapp Motorenwerke. He decided to merge it with his competitor Gustav Otto's company, since both were struggling. The merger gave the new company access to better technical skills, increased its production, and improved the quality of its engines. In simple terms, Rapp's company needed help, and Franz Josef Popp, with his business vision and connections, led the way to create a stronger, united company that could not only survive but also grow. This merger ultimately gave a new name to the company, BMW. However, Karl did not agree with the merger decision, but due to financial struggles and pressure from the government, he eventually resigned in 1917 and moved to California. In late 1917, after the merger, BMW launched its first aircraft engine, the BMW 3A. This engine became a significant success for the company. The German military ordered a large number of engines from BMW, which were used in fighter planes during World War I. This was a big achievement for the company, but the next year something unexpected was coming and BMW wasn't prepared for it. In 1918, World War I ended and demand for aircraft slowed down. The Treaty of Versailles put strict limits on German companies, stopping them from making weapons, including engines for military planes and aircrafts. Because of this, many companies that had been producing military equipment had to change direction and focus on making other products. This meant BMW also had to find another way to save the business. Unfortunately, after the war, the BMW's financial situation went so bad that they had to survive by selling farming equipment, household goods, and railway brakes. By doing this, they eventually saved enough money and decided to enter into the motorcycle business. In 1922, BMW launched two motorcycle prototypes, Helios and Flink. Sadly, both models ended up failing because of technical issues, including design flaws and reliability problems. In response, the company decided to visit other manufacturers and learn more about their products. By the end of 1923, BMW introduced its first successful motorcycle, the R23, which was famous for its flat twin engine fixed horizontally. This helped with balance and handling. This design became a trademark of BMW motorcycles. The R23 was known for being reliable and smooth to ride, gaining a strong reputation among riders for its durability. The R23 motorcycle performed so well in the market that within the next 3 years, BMW sold around 3,000 units. BMW didn't stop with the R23. In 1924, the company launched another motorcycle, the BMW R37, which designed especially for racers. This sports bike featured a 494 cubic centimeter flat twin engine, which was a big change from BMW's earlier designs. Known for its power and reliability, the R37 delivered impressive performance, reaching a top speed of 120 km per hour. It quickly became one of the fastest motorcycles of its time and immediately gained a loyal fan following among racers. However, during the late 1920s, the demand for cars started to rise. Cars give more comfort and luxury feeling than motorcycles, plus the car market had less competition at that time, which meant higher profits. Therefore, BMW decided to enter the automobile industry. In 1928, BMW officially became a car manufacturer. To manufacture cars, the company acquired another company, which gave them space to make more cars and establish a stronger presence in the automotive industry. The next year, in 1929, BMW launched its first car, the BMW 315 PS, which received a positive response right from the day one. To showcase the car's durability and performance, BMW decided to participate in the famous Alpine rally race, which was known for its tough mountain roads and changing weather conditions. The BMW 315 PS not only won the race, but also did it without getting any penalties, averaging a speed of 42 km per hour. However, the leading German car magazine, Automobile Zeitung, was very impressed and said, BMW surprised everyone in the motoring world with their amazing performance. This was not only BMW's first race with a car, but also their first victory, marking the beginning of their journey in motorsports. From that moment on, BMW earned a reputation for producing sports cars and winning races around the world. The success of the BMW 315 PS inspired the company to keep pushing forward. In 1933, BMW introduced the 303, a more luxurious car with a powerful 6-cylinder engine. The 303 was known for its lightweight design, using a steel frame that improved both performance and fuel efficiency. Luckily, the BMW 303 was another great success for the company. By the end of 1934, BMW had sold around 2,300 units of the 303. Thereafter, in the year of 1936, BMW launched another iconic 328, a true sports car. It also immediately made a name for itself by winning its first race and by beating the other best cars. Everything was going great for the company, but then World War II hit and it changed the company's reputation completely. After Germany lost World War I, the country's economy was falling apart. The German people were desperate, hoping for something that could turn things around. This desperation opened the door for the Nazi Party, which by 1933 had gained almost complete control, allowing Adolf Hitler to rise as Germany's chancellor. During the start of the Second World War, the Nazi Party and the German government stopped car production and ordered BMW and other companies to make things like aircraft engines for the German Air Force and motorcycles for soldiers. To support the Nazis and the German military, BMW shifted its production to aircraft engines, motorcycles, and military vehicles, which were crucial for the war effort. This change happened partly because of government contracts and the pressure of building up military weapons. However, in the middle of the war, demand for aircraft engines increased. To make up for this demand, BMW needed more workers, but there weren't enough workers available. To fill this gap, women joined the workforce, even though this went against Nazi beliefs at the time. But still, this woman was not enough to fulfill the demand. Because of this, in 1939, BMW started using forced labor, including prisoners from concentration camps for war, to help meet production needs. Not just this, BMW also needed some skilled workers, which they hired from Western Europe. These Western workers typically received better treatment and higher pay than other workers, but not for long. As the war went on, the rights and privileges of Western workers were slowly taken away, leading to an increase in forced labor. All forced laborers faced a shortage of food and lived in terrible conditions. By the end of 1944, about 29,000 forced laborers were working at BMW, which was more than half of all the workers at the company. This shows the harsh reality of how the factory operated during the war. Without these workers, BMW would have struggled to keep up with the demands of mass war production. But the worst thing was, these laborers had to work long hours, sometimes more than 12 hours in a day. The Western workers and concentration camp prisoners faced especially brutal treatment, and even minor mistakes could lead to violence or death. Because of this, the death rates among these groups were much higher than those of other workers. BMW was heavily involved in World War II with the Nazis. However, in May 1945, the Nazis surrendered, bringing World War II to an end. But before the war was completely over, something terrible happened. BMW factories were bombed heavily, and their facilities in East Germany were seized by the Soviet government. On top of that, the remaining facilities were banned by the Allies from producing automobiles because of connection with Nazis. After World War II ended and the factory was bombed heavily, BMW didn't have enough funds and it was close to going bankrupt, but they weren't going to give up on their business. To keep their business alive, they again started selling railway brakes, household items, and other aluminium products. By doing so, they managed to save enough money and decided to re-enter the motorcycle industry and launch one new motorcycle. But the only problem was, if this motorcycle didn't succeed, BMW would have to shut down his business. In the year of 1948, BMW started making new motorcycles. After working for 2 years, they launched the BMW R24 in 1950. This was BMW's first post-war motorcycle, designed with a simple and reliable structure. It featured a 250cc single-cylinder engine, making it lightweight and easy for new riders to handle. Plus, it was affordable, making it accessible to a wide range of people. The R24 became a success for BMW, selling approximately 12,000 units in just 4 years. In the same year, BMW also received the green light for producing cars again, and the success of the R24 gave them the money they needed to re-enter the car industry. BMW was excited to launch its first car in 1952, the BMW 501. It was a big fancy sedan with a stylish look, powered by a strong V8 engine that made the ride smooth and reliable. Because of its curvy design, people nicknamed it the Baroque Angel. But the result of this car was something entirely unexpected for BMW. It turned out to be a complete failure because it was too expensive. Also, World War II had ended just a few years ago. Many people in Germany were still struggling to make ends meet. Only upper-class people could afford this car, which meant there was a very limited number of customers. To improve this further, BMW launched the 502 and 503 models. Unfortunately, luck wasn't on their side, and both cars ended up failing in the market. However, in 1957, BMW realized that the German economy was growing and people were looking for affordable and reliable cars. To meet this demand, BMW launched the BMW 700 model in 1959. The BMW 700 turned out to be a good for the company, and demand for this car was increasing. To handle this demand, BMW was facing financial difficulties due to its earlier failed models. Unfortunately, conditions went so bad that BMW was ready to sell itself to its main competitor, Daimler-Benz, which is today known as Mercedes-Benz. However, the BMW shareholders couldn't agree to the deal with Daimler-Benz. Later, an early investor of BMW named Herbert Quandt invested in the company and saved the company. BMW's next goal was to beat the Ford Capri in the European Touring Car Championship. To do this, they launched a powerful version of their E9 Coupe called the 3.0 CSL. This car gave them great results, winning the championship in 1973 and then having a streak of 5 years of wins in a row from 1975 to 1979. Around the same time, BMW introduced several new cars. In 1975, they launched the E21 3 Series. The following year, in 1976, they released the first generation of the 6 Series. Then in 1977, BMW launched the 7 Series. All these new models were very successful and sold more than the previous one. In fact, the E21 3 Series became the first BMW to sell over 1 million units. BMW was growing rapidly, both in the number of cars they made and the models they offered. To keep up with this growth, BMW needed more production space. As a result, in 1994, they opened a new factory in South Carolina, USA. However, BMW wanted to expand its portfolio, so they started buying other companies, but they had no idea that these acquisitions would later create big problems for the company. In 1994, BMW acquired the Mini and Rover brands. Earlier in 1988, they had also bought Rolls-Royce as well. As a result, in the early 2000s, BMW found itself in financial trouble, mainly because of its issues with the Rover acquisition. During this time, the whole car industry was facing a crisis because of more competition and changing customer preferences. These issues made it hard for Rover to succeed, which hurt BMW's finances. Also, BMW had to do a big layoff in their company. They lost billions of dollars and at the end decided to sell the Rover brand. Luckily, not all acquisitions were failures. In 2001, BMW launched the new Mini, which quickly became a huge success. Thereafter, in 2003, they introduced the Rolls-Royce Phantom, which built using parts from BMW's 7 Series. The Phantom was praised by people for its quality and design. So despite everything, BMW had managed to rise to the very top of the car industry. Some of its most successful cars include the classic BMW 3 Series, famous for its sports look, the luxurious BMW 7 Series, known for its comfort and technology, and the popular BMW X5, which was one of the first luxury SUVs on the market. Not just this, when you consider all of the brands the BMW Group owns, there's no doubt they've made plenty of brilliant, iconic cars. Whilst on the other hand, it's also true that they were involved with the Nazis, but I think it's important to say that we can't blame BMW today for the activities in its early years. After World War II, even though the name was the same, the people running the company were completely changed. If you enjoyed this video, you'll definitely need to check out the next one. Just click the thumbnail and I'll see you there.